Till the end of this video, you'll be able to track nearly any website and receive an email every time it updates. You can use this to track the price of a product, job listings, real estate listings, content updates, and much more. I'll show you two ways to do this. One simple free version and one advanced version. Both were made inside of my favorite automation tool, n8n. Just in case you don't catch everything, scroll down to the comment section and grab the link for the workflow for free. This video was inspired by one of your comments, so feel free to suggest anything else you'd like me to build. We're almost ready to roll out our community on a new platform. This space will help us support each other in adapting tools like these to your specific needs. The channel has grown a lot. Thank you for all 9K subscribers in less than a month. It's been an incredibly wholesome experience. That said, let's get building. So this is what we're doing. I built a section inside of buildai in public.com/shop, which has just some dummy data products. So premium wireless headphones. This has the pricing, has the description, the title. This is all we want to fetch for. Then I also have this tracker sheets right here. Let's place the price over down to $20. This one can stay, $400. And now let's run the workflow. So test workflow. It's running, updating sheets. Now, if we head over to the sheets, we get $300, which is correctly updated, and $200 for the other one, which is also correctly updated. And when I go over to my email, you'll see that I received the updated products. So product, then name of the product, price update from $20 over to $300. Same for the other product. That's basically all that this workflow does. I'll give you guys a quick overview of this workflow, and ideally you would use a different trigger, which is the scheduler trigger. Schedule trigger. What this trigger does is you can set up a time. So if I'd say like minutes, I can set 10 minutes and then just hook this down here, get whatever JSON I have here, and just pass it over to the schedule trigger like this. This is the place where you'll place the URLs you want to scrape. So if I had one more product that I wanted to track, this would be /shop/3, but I didn't place the third dummy data there. So let's just stick with this. This first node is just separating the links, because this way the next node will understand each one separately and will run the get method for each of them separately. This will then follow on as a separate list also. So you see that we get 2 items here. These 2 items go through this extract HTML content. And this node is where all the magic happens, and for free, because you can get structure from a website by just using their CSS properties. Understand that if I inspect this element of price right here, you'll find a class named text2xl. I can use that class and specify it down here in the CSS selector. And then the key would be price, and it will successfully search through the page to find that specific CSS selector and get whatever is inside of it. Now you might run into 2 problems, which is either the CSS property is dynamic. So every time the site builds, it will generate a different CSS, and then that won't be reliable. You won't be able to fetch with that same CSS forever. Or there might be other HTML tags in the website that has the same CSS property. And if this second case is a problem you're facing, you can try to filter out by CSS properties also. So this HTML tag wasn't what I was searching for. I could find this font bold right here and place it down in skip selectors. Then it wouldn't grab this specific element. You'll see that I do the same for product name. So inside product name, I mention text 3XL, and then inspecting it, you'll find text 3XL. And if you want to specify even more, you can grab the entire class, send it over here, and then separate them with commas. If it is a class, do remember to place a dot before each of those classes. Then when you search for it, it correctly fetches for that specific element. Following on, we get to the get sheets. This just gets everything that's already inside of our sheet to compare it further on and know if it needs to update or create. And how it does that is through this product name column. If the product name is similar to one that's already inserted, it will just update that specific row. Now we get to the create string node, and all this node does is get everything you had before, and now what's updated understands that and generates a string based on those changes. Let's execute this just to show you what it gets. So it goes through the fetch data node, the get sheets node, and understands what changed. If nothing changed, it will just output this. And if it outputs that, it gets the if node that understands that there's nothing that was changed, and the execution just stops there. If there was an update, it sends it over to the Gmail node. When you download this workflow for yourself, you'll not be able to use it instantly because you'll have to set up your credentials for your Google API account. The only part that I believe you might get stuck is selecting the scopes. And for that, I usually refer to this page from Google documentation that I will place below in the description. After you successfully place your credentials, you'll have to go over to your Google Sheets and create a new spreadsheet. In this sheet, you'll want to place in the variables. So in my case, it's price, description, product name, updated at. And if for some reason it's not detecting the column names, just place a random string inside of the columns and it will detect that first row just fine. The last thing you'll want to configure here to run for your specific case is this fetch data node. So you have to place in here the same variables of these columns that you set up in the sheet. So price, product name, description was mine. Since updated at isn't a variable that I can find inside the website, it is a variable that I update programmatically, but it is always ideal for you to fill in all of these columns that you place in your sheets. Now, our second workflow is kind of similar, but what it does is a more advanced approach. So you could have just the link to the shop as I have placed right here, and this shop is just this. What it does is understand every single link that's inside of that shop. In this case, just shop 1 and shop 2, gets those links. Then it starts scraping those specific links using Firecrawl. You wait 5 seconds for that result. If it wasn't found, it waits a bit more, so 15 seconds. And then after it waits, it fetches that result again. If the result status is back as completed, we move on to split out the results inside of this data variable. This way, we move on to fetching what is already inside of the sheet. We update those sheet if there is anything to update at all. We create the same string as we did previously. And if there was an update, it sends it over to an AI agent that produces a pretty nice message to be sent over to Gmail. So now if I go over here and change it to 15 to 10 and hit test workflow, you'll see that it goes through each one of these nodes, waits for the 5 seconds, fetches the result. The result was successful. Updated the sheet. Now it's producing the message. If I go over to the sheet, you'll see that it was updated. The description was also updated, as I can see. And over at our Gmail, we have a better response. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, I wouldn't want to pay to just get back a structured response inside of my Gmail. But if you're searching through a lot of products, this might come in handy because maybe some products, like it just changed the description or something. Or if you have different columns, you can configure the AI to just send you an email when certain criteria are met. To use this workflow, you'll also need to configure the Google API credentials. But aside from that, you'll also need to configure Firecrawl. You can test it out for free while trying to get up to 500 pages. Or if you subscribe, you can use Leo10 as the promo coupon. That gives you 10% discount. To use their API, you need to define a schema, but I tried to do that inside of n8n in a way that you don't need to code at all. So how you do this is inside of this specific node. All you do is place the variable, same as before, like you place product name, description, and price. That's all. And then their types. So string for description, and number for the pricing. What this node will do is actually create the schema. So this is the schema that Firecrawl's API expects. And then this schema is sent over to Firecrawl when you try to scrape the data. As you can see right here, it successfully created through that set node the schema that I need. So if just one link is found in here, you would likely spend 2 credits running this workflow every time, since this will fetch for that specific link, that unique link. But if it finds like 10 or 20 links, you'll waste 10 or 20 credits every time. This fetch result node is just trying to see if the scraping was complete from Firecrawl's side. This will likely not waste you any credits. The only other thing you'll have to configure is the API for OpenAI. And to do that, just come over here to the dashboard, hit API keys, and generate a new API key right here, at which let's place a name like n8n test. Create secret key. This is my key. I copy it and paste it right over here, an API key. I believe that is it for this video. If it helped you in any way, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then.